In our top business story, Emaar Properties recorded a net profit of 1.731 billion dirhams during the first half of 2014, a 41% increase over a net profit of 1.231 billion dirhams recorded in the same period last year. According to a company statement released on Monday, the improved results were led by the strong performance of the malls and hospitality business segments. Emaar posted revenue for the first 6 months of the year of 5.063 billion dirhams, similar to the 5.219 billion dirham figure posted in H1 of 2013. Net profit for the second quarter was 868 million dirhams, a 29% increase over Q2 of 2013, with revenue for the quarter recorded at 2.807 billion dirhams, a 24% increase from the same period last year. Emaar's malls, retail, hospitality and leisure subsidiaries showed a 14% increase, contributing 2.647 billion dirhams in recurring revenues in H1, with Q2 revenues of 1.301 billion dirhams, a figure 12% higher than Q2 2013 revenues of 1.160 billion dirhams. Mohammed Al-Abbar, the chairman of Emaar Properties, stated that the positive growth of the company has been energized by Dubai's strong credentials as a stable and safe hub for business and leisure. He further added that in the last 6 months, Emaar has contributed significantly to building Dubai's property infrastructure through the launch of several new projects. During the first 6 months of the year, Emaar launched more than 10 projects to strong investor response. The total value of sales of Emaar's projects in Dubai during H1 2014 was 9.032 billion dirhams, 43% higher than H1 2013, with international investors accounting for approximately 20% of the total sales during the period. Revenues from the company's global operations during H1 2014 were 751 million dirhams, representing 15% of the total revenue. In the UAE, the British expatriate community is the second leading market for real estate after Indians, according to Sumansa Exhibitions. In an effort to allow more investment opportunities locally for those living in the UK, the company is taking the Emirates to London next year. This was the announcement made today by Sumansa Exhibitions President Sunil Jaiswal at a press conference held earlier at the Burj Al Arab. He said this is an ideal time to organize a unique real estate expo overseas that will showcase Dubai and the UAE's properties and projects at the Olympia in London. From the 27th of February till the 1st of March, the event will provide a common platform for an estimated 2,000 high net worth property buyers, along with investors, developers, contractors, financial institutions, lawyers and more. Jaiswal said a London launch of the Dubai Property Show would allow them to reach out to 8 million Londoners and millions living in European countries.
I think one of the greatest benefits of investing in Dubai is no tax to start with, especially no capital gains tax. So if you buy something for 1 million dirhams and it turns out to be 2 million, well, that million is yours in Dubai. Obviously, if you're a UK resident, then you might have to declare that in the UK as an income. But fundamentally, in Dubai, there is no tax on any kind of income at all or capital gain. So that's very attractive. And also, I believe that the UAE is one of the unique markets in the world where you can not only get good equity growth, the price of the value of the property going up, but you can get cash flow as well. And there's good amounts of cash flow. Property is in demand here. It's a growing city. So there's a lot of factors for Dubai. Obviously, nowhere is perfect. Everywhere has its drawbacks. But for somebody who is an investor, they cannot exclude Dubai from their portfolios.
Jaiswal says whether investors are looking for cash flow or equity investments, there are opportunities everywhere in the UAE and particularly Dubai. While many do come to see the Emirate for themselves, he says the Dubai Property Show will save everyone the trip, time, energy and cost required to make a sound judgment when investing in property.
The number one is research. Never do something on a whim. One of the reasons why I love exhibitions is you can do a lot of research in a very short period of time. Instead of coming to the UAE and spending a week here, you can go to London and within an hour, 2 hours, you can meet a lot of investors, a lot of developers, I should say. So it's very, very critical. Always, always, always do your research. Never just go with what somebody else is doing. Second thing is to understand your objectives of investing. Just because my friend bought something X, Y, and Z doesn't mean to say it's good for me. My risk appetite is different, my capital is different, and the ability to sustain a downturn is different because there will be a down. We all know there's downturns. So the second thing I would say is definitely understand what your objectives are. Then, of course, it's down to location. and understanding, knowing the market, looking around, what's going on. Location, 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 they always say is good. I say location, location, location is the second most important thing you should look at, because before that you should know if it makes money. And I think the good thing about Dubai is no matter where you're buying in Dubai right now, in the medium to long term, sorry, I'm pretty sure you're going to make some money. Other things, you should always negotiate. Never take a developer's price on face value. I know here in Dubai it's been hard historically to negotiate because prices have been going up, and they say, well, if you don't want it, don't have it. But it doesn't hurt to ask the question, negotiate. And of course, negotiation can only be done when you actually do lots of good research. And the last thing I would say is actually do take action, because you can do lots and lots of research, analyze, negotiate till you're blue in the face, but if you don't take action, you're actually never going to get the returns.
Dubai continued to attract new companies as the Department of Economic Development in Dubai announced that the number of licenses issued in the first half of 2014 rose 17% to 5,786. According to the DED, the number of trade licenses increased 21% to 4,296 in H1 2014, while 71 new licenses were issued for tourism companies, registering an increase of 65%. Industrial licenses also rose 38% to 88 in H1, while 1,331 professional licenses were issued during the period, an increase of 2%. The DED stated that the figures show that the Emirates tourism, industrial and commercial sectors are witnessing strong growth, with more companies setting up offices here. The number of trade licenses issued in the second quarter of 2014 made up 70% of the total, followed by professional licenses at 23% and industrial licenses and tourism at 2% and 1% respectively. The DED recorded 152,039 transactions during Q2 2014, renewed 31,298 licenses and amended 22,701. According to Mohammed Shail, the Executive Director of Licensing and Registration at the DED, the growth rate remains steady at all the major sectors which are vital for the Emirate of Dubai. Capital inflows into the UAE from emerging markets, particularly the BRIC countries of Brazil, China, India and Russia, surpass inflows from the MENA region. According to local reports, the capital invested in the UAE from the MENA region is more in the form of individual property assets, whereas UAE's role in attracting capital flow from BRIC countries is the result of progressive government measures and global partnerships. India commands the lion's share of BRIC capital flowing into the UAE. The UAE is a net importer of capital, mainly from emerging markets and regional markets, where capital inflow from developed markets is low. According to the Institute of International Finance, capital flows to emerging markets are predicted to be at $1.079 trillion, some $47 billion less than previously predicted, and down from $1.188 trillion in 2013. Next year, however, they are seen rising to $1.164 trillion. The GCC received $1.6 billion in total foreign direct investment from India in 2012, a figure that's only expected to rise over time due to increasing trade relations and the complementary strength of their economies.